As marketers, we want to understand and estimate demand in kind of three periods, right? So we look at what did January and February look like for our businesses. We'll show you his for Sears. What happens in the near term, right? So maybe the next 6 to 9 months, say, March, April to about December, end of year, there will be a significant amount of demand lost. For many of us, there will be some demand growth as well. And that happens because as people shift their behavior, they shift investments, they shift their mindset. If you're in an industry that sort of benefits from quarantine restrictions, those kinds of things, there will be some demand growth. And then post-crisis demand will look different as well. So this is how I sort of think about it, which is I don't want to cut my marketing or advise anyone to cut my marketing by more than the demand that's lost. And so I need some way of estimating what that demand is, right? If I cut my marketing more than demand that's lost, I am in danger of losing out on opportunity. Things will look even worse for me than they look across the board. And likewise, I don't want to cut so deep that I remove the potential for growth during the near term or longer term periods. In this really, really tough economic time, your organization probably falls into one of these three buckets, right? You're directly harmed. You're in travel like Expedia or events like South by Southwest or meetups. You're directly benefiting, right? Your Patreons, Whole Foods, Zoom, or you're indirectly affected, like Fitbit. Okay, well, people are sort of moving less, but maybe they care more about their activity at home and there's some more home activity. All right, we're not sure where they land. Zencaster, they're looking at podcast consumption being down a bit because people aren't driving to work, but they're also looking at more podcasts starting because a lot of people are starting their own podcasts now that they have fancy recording equipment at home that they've purchased. SparkToro, I don't know whether we're directly harmed, we're sort of indirectly affected. And in these buckets, there's different things that we can do. So I pulled some examples here, right? The directly harmed folks have, generally speaking, I think that some of the smartest ones have been building brand awareness and investing in creating future demand. I'll actually show a few more examples in the travel space specifically, where folks are making investments for the future, predicting that that pent-up demand will release at some point. And if they played their cards right and captured consumer interest, they'll have it in the future. You could be directly benefiting, in which case I think the absolute right thing to do is to be generous with that benefit, right? So I think, Patreon, I don't know if you've seen folks like Gumroad and Shopify. Shopify did this amazing thing where they created a huge fund for creators and small businesses up in Canada that they're investing almost like a mini government entity, right? Making not just loans, but grants. Patreon, the same thing here. Wonderstock, right? Helping other people because they are indirectly affected. And so they just look for ways to be helpful. And I think that's a great thing to do. That's what we're trying to do at SparkToro. I think that's what a lot of businesses that are doing. And I'll show you why this is true, this helping people over everything else. Not just that it's the right thing to do, but also that it is resonating out there. I think we can understand the scenario that we're going to be in three ways, right? There's sort of this March and April period where our attention is on nothing but the disease and our health and worrying about family and all that kind of stuff. And I actually feel like even right now we're coming out of that a little bit. Some people are coming out of it at least. May 2020 to, I think probably next year, there'll be this transition to life online in a recession climate. Hopefully not a depression, but possibly too, right? And then from March or perhaps later onward, right, kind of a period when we are anticipating or getting a vaccine and things are returning to a new normal. That's that third period.